Welcome to Advanced Construction Videos, where we show you how to tackle rocketry building techniques and more. On our website, we sell kits, motors, building supplies, and electronics. So come and learn, shop, build, and fly when you visit us at apogeerockets.com.
In this video, I want to go over the parts, the plastic parts that make up the escape tower. This right here is the little nose cone. This is the umbilical fairing. This is the shroud that goes on the back of the escape motor. Over here we have two tower lattices. Then we have these two strips right here are the reaction control system motors. So RCS, if you hear that term, that's the RCS. These are the rocket motors for the escape tower. And then there's this little ring right here, and that goes inside the escape tower. So the first thing that we want to do is to remove all the parts from the plastic sprue. And for this, I want to show you where to cut, because this is kind of important. If you trim too much, it's going to be a hard time fitting everything together. We're going to cut them out first, and then we're going to assemble and then trim, particularly on the tower lattice. So on the tower lattice, you see right here on this side, it's fat, and then you have this strut, and then in the middle, it varies from wide to skinny and then back to wide, and we want to cut on the wide part. So to do that, I'll lay it flat on the table, take my hobby knife, you can see I'm on the fat side, and I'll just press down through it, and then on this side I'll do the same thing. And then when you flip it over to do the middle one. And so you're going to get left with some little ugly conical parts that go out away from the sprue. But that's okay, that's what we want. And then inspect the sprue. If you see things like this, I have this right here. It's snapped in two. That can be fixed, so don't worry about that. We'll glue that back together. In fact, when they get glued side by side, it makes them much stronger. So, or if they're a little bit warped because of the heating, when they cool, the plastic cools, they sometimes tend to warp. Don't worry about that. That's going to go away once you assemble it. This right here, this will also go away. This little bump on the tip. Now these RCS motors, to remove those, it's easier when this lays flat. So I'm going to take a diagonal cutters like this and just going to cut these off the sprue. Makes it a little bit easier to remove them. And while you're at it, you might as well do these too. On the RCS nozzles, if you flip them over, you have this little tiny part right here. That's the part that we want to save, and then it has a nozzle, and then this piece on the outside is excess plastic. That's called a gate. What happens is when the plastic's liquid, it flows down the sprue across the part, and then it comes out of this gate. And then when they see the plastic come out, then they know that it's filled all the little cavities inside the mold. So we'll just snap those off, and they pop off rather easily. and then it leaves the little nozzles. And on these nozzles, what I want to do is cut right along that straight edge right there. And when you do this, put your finger over the top of it, because they have a tendency when you cut through, they kind of fly off. So we want to kind of prevent them from going on the floor and getting lost. So we'll just put our finger on top and then just snap through it just like that. And there's 8 of them, so go ahead and do all 8 of them. Don't lose these. And then on the other side of the RCS nozzles is this piece here. It has 2 nozzles and a little gate. So we're going to cut that gate off. And then we'll cut the part off right underneath the flat part, just like that. On the plastic ring, we want to again cut off the gates. And then we'll cut the ring and separate it. And then on these big nozzles, we'll cut right here. Cut that gate off. Cut that one off. And then we'll cut right here. Once you get all the parts removed, we're going to trim up and remove any of the excess plastic that remains attached to the parts themselves. And what you'll do is you'll just take your knife and just scrape along the surface if you have any plastic that's sticking up. The little nozzles are the hardest to hold, and we want to scrape that flat side off, because that's going to get glued inside this little piece right here.